Hi, I'm on a little bit early because I just wanted to get checked in here with you guys and just kind of check in. 'Cause I know it has been a crazy week, and yeah, it has been a crazy week. I think that's pretty much the bulk of it. um, and so, it was the spring equinox yesterday, because regardless of what happens in human time or human world, nature continues. And so yesterday was the spring equinox, which is the day where there's equal day and equal night. And then in the spring, we sort of shift more towards more light, longer days, heading towards summer. And then the other side of the planet moves towards their fall. And so today is actually the first day of spring, which is pretty crazy to think about. But it definitely is the first day of spring. And so I love restorative yoga. Most of you know that. I've been teaching it for a long time, and it is my go-to practice in times of challenge. And I hadn't offered one specifically yet because I just wasn't sure with the props or if people were going to be a little bit too agitated to stay still. And I completely understand if you are. But we can try. And then also I brought my drum. You can see her in the background there, and do a little drumming in Shavasana, because I do want to give us a nice Shavasana tonight, and hopefully the drum will help you to kind of settle. Restorative yoga is so specific for the nervous system, and with everything going on right now, there's obviously such a big concern about health. And again, we know that one of the number one causes of disease and the body struggling to recover, is when there's a stress response. And so our yoga practices in general will hopefully keep us from, keeping us more healthy. And, unfortunately, nothing's a guarantee, and that's one of the things about yoga is that we do live in a culture where we do want an answer or a magic pill or a magic, something that's going to guarantee that no one ever gets sick or hurt or dies or any of that. But that's kind of what happens in life. And yoga and Buddhism and a lot of practices are just saying that life continues to happen, nature continues to happen, but we can have practices to reduce that suffering. And I talked about that quite a bit on Monday in my class. But I think it bears repeating because I definitely find myself yesterday I wanted a reassurance. I wanted someone to tell me that for sure, if we did this or if we do that, that somehow, and I know that that's not a rational response. It's very much like a childlike response, and we all do have that. We as children, we have that instinct to have, our caregiver hold us and be like, everything's okay, everything's going to be okay, you're going to be okay. And as adults, we are offering that to other people. And I'm sure each one of you, is a caretaker in some form or another, because most of us are. As adults, most of us are caretaking other humans or animals or plants or businesses or whatever it is. And in these times, we're all sort of scrambling around wanting someone to tell us that everything's going to be okay, and that, and it is, because life goes on and the world goes on. And in the big picture of things, like everything will be okay in terms of day to day and, sort of our finite stuff. It's like, it's hard to say, but it's just, we come back to right now, right here, right now. And that was sort of the reminder I got yesterday too. And I know that, like if I'm seeking reassurance about a week from now or a month from now or a year from now, like no one can give that to me. But in this moment, right here, right now at 5:23 p.m. on Friday, March 20th, 2020, like I know right now I'm okay. And if you're watching this with me, or will be watching this with me shortly, you're okay too. We're okay right now, right this moment, this breath, and keeping it that simple. And that's something I love about restorative yoga. And this might not be my most motivating message, right? But like, that's why we have these practices, to really help us to just get really, really present. And in restorative yoga, we're surrendering, we're letting go, we're not forcing the body into poses, we're not engaging the musculature, we're not pushing. Like the whole point of restorative yoga is deep relaxation. And so there may be people in this group that have never taken my restorative class, And that's okay. It's not a practice for everyone, but if there was ever a time to explore all the things that, yoga has to offer, like this is definitely that time. And so, if you are here tonight or if you're watching this later, and I want to invite you to explore restorative yoga, because restorative yoga for me, is such a medicinal practice. It's such a medicinal practice. I get home and I put my legs at the wall for 10 minutes and it changes. I mean, it literally, restorative yoga helps us to have relationship with sort of involuntary systems, with the nervous system, with the endocrine system, with the subtle anatomy that has a lot to do with our health and has a lot to do with our well-being. And so when we do restorative poses, the idea is that we get as physically comfortable as possible so that we can let the body go. So the effort in the pose is actually in the setup and then in the props holding you up. So this is a prop-based practice. So if you haven't already, maybe take the next few minutes and go gather up some things. So you can use couch cushions like the ones that I kind of have in the back. If you have bolsters, blankets, blocks, you've probably gotten pretty good this week at coming up with home restorative or yoga props. But just basically a comfortable pillow, or you can always roll up blankets and towels. I'm going to keep it relatively minimal. Those of you who practice with me on Friday nights will often get very decadent in our props, but for tonight, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. So if you do have traditional yoga props, I would recommend a bolster, a couple blocks, a blanket or two, or even like a towel and a blanket, something for your head, something to cover up if you need it. An eye cover can be really nice, especially because I know there's the tendency to want to look at the screen. I know we've all been sort of staring at screens lately, and like my eyes are like, I feel like we were just talking about that in a staff meeting, where it's just like we've just been kind of glued, to Facebook, and you are. But so if you maybe have like a washcloth or a clean sock or an eye pillow that you can put over your face, that would be really good, and that's going to really help to kind of give your frontal brain permission to release. So in restorative yoga, we create like this relaxation response so that the body knows it's safe enough to let go. And this is what supports then the immune system and the nervous system and again our sleep rhythms. I know a lot of people have been having trouble sleeping this week. Some of it's because they're not in their regular routine. Some of it's just because there's just so much anxiety and stress happening. There's a lot of reasons to do restorative yoga. And so we set up in the poses. We hold the poses probably between 5 and 15 minutes tonight. And once we're in it, the focus is to just maybe take a few deep breaths to get as comfortable as possible, to get as cozy as possible. And then hopefully we move into a relaxation state where you're not doing anything. You're just relaxing. But I do offer some reminders, and I will allow you some space. So that's also part of why I kind of was holding off on the restorative yoga till I got a couple classes under my belt, because I've found without having your bodies in the room to look at, it's really hard for me to just be quiet, because I feel like I need to fill that space, and that's part of my own practice. And so it is the first day of spring, and restorative yoga is a beautiful, simple, sweet, ceremonial space. Hi, Bridget. So good to see you. I know we've had so many people doing like all these classes. They're just like, I've just been doing yoga 3 times a day, which is, I mean, that's kind of an amazing blessing, right? Like, and you're just like, okay, they're doing something, so I'll do that. Yesterday I did the hypno yoga with Kelly, which I've never been able to do. And I listened to Karen's sound bath. Which I hadn't been able to listen to yet either. So that was really nice. And it's been really, again, with all of the uncertainty and at this point, a lot of inconvenience and fear, it has been a blessing, and you each are all blessings to us. And we are going to be having classes off of the Yoga One site or the Mind Body app, or however you normally log in for classes, starting next week. And so you'll get to practice on Zoom, which means the teachers will get to see you and we'll have a little bit more interaction, but we're going to kind of keep stuff up here too. We're going to keep special stuff here for you guys, and then continue to get some of the free Facebook classes going, because people seem to really appreciate that and it helps us to connect. So again, thank you all for being here, for tuning in this week. And we're going to do some Friday night restorative yoga, first night of spring, the first day of spring. and just have a little bit of time of relaxation. And these moments of calm and relaxation are just so priceless right now, and just so precious. And so I thank you for taking time, either on your Friday night or whenever you're watching this, to practice with me and to be here with me. And may this practice serve you. May this practice bring you some deep rest and relaxation and nourishment that is so needed right now, and that will carry us into this new season and the spring, like no other in the last century. What we're going through right now, it's pretty unprecedented since 1918. And but we're here together, and we have way better technology than they had in 1918. So we'll just see what the spring brings. So go ahead and find a comfortable seat, whatever that means for you. And we don't do a lot of movement at all in restorative, but just take a moment to kind of shrug the shoulders. I've been sitting at the desk, the computer. I've spent more hours at the computer this week, I think, than like ever. And the other way. And then squeeze your shoulders up and release. And then inhale, squeeze and release. And one more time, squeeze and release. Good. And then just let your hands come to your knees and just take a little bit of cat-cow. And you totally don't have to do any movement if you're like, oh my gosh, I just want to do restorative. Then just sit comfortably. Just a few good breaths. And if you've got people kind of coming in and joining us. I know I got on a little bit early. I just like to make sure everything's working and, get my chatting out of the way so that the hour can be the practice. So. And then hold a little cat. And then inhale, reach the arms up, big stretch. Exhale, hands down. And soften the jaw, soften the face. And let's just draw in gratitude. Infusing the body with gratitude. And if that is challenging today, I completely understand. I went out yesterday searching for signs of spring. I needed some hope, some beauty, some miracle. And it was there. The beautiful flowers, the sweet smells, the ladybugs and the hummingbirds. And even just gratitude that we woke up breathing and moving this morning. And we're able to connect together again tonight for the practice. Just infuse your heart with a little bit of gratitude, or a lot of gratitude, and let that stay with you for your practice tonight. Let's greet this spring with a grateful heart, even amidst all the uncertainty. And if you'd like to chant a single sound of Om, take a deep breath in. And then very slowly, let's find a child's pose. So a supported child's pose. And you can take this any way you want. I'm going to put a blanket down to pad my knees. I have a bolster, knees wide. So if child's pose doesn't work for you, you can lie on your back and hug your knees into your chest. Or you can extend the legs out and take a little bit of a forward fold. Kind of put the bolster up here. But if child's pose does work for you this evening, that is always my go-to pose of surrender. So just sitting back, softening the jaw, roll the shoulders down. And then you can place your forehead down, or you can turn one cheek. Really try to relax the shoulders, tops of the feet down. You can also put a blanket between the thighs and the calves. You add a little more support. You can also stack things up. So if you need to put your blocks underneath the bolster so it comes up a little bit higher. so that your hips are low, so it kind of feels like your hips are up like this. Lowering down. I sometimes like this too. I can kind of hold on to the block. You can also just simply throw your blocks. Place the forehead on the block. We are going to be here for several breaths, and if you need to adjust, go ahead and adjust. So restorative yoga really only works if the poses are comfortable. If it's not comfortable, then it can be a very different type of class. So soften the shoulders, draw the belly in. Your hips settle back towards your heels. And so once we're settled, like I said, I'm going to allow a little bit of silence tonight, which is a challenge for me as well. And then we move into Shavasana, I'll do some drumming. But I feel like I had so much chatter in my head and on the computers. And yesterday when I went out walking, I didn't bring my phone or my music. Sometimes we just need that silence. So if your mind is really chattering, focus on your breath, where you are right now. Or again, just come back to that infusion of gratitude. Gratitude for the spring. If you need to move, move. If you have your, one facial cheek down, go ahead and turn it the other way if you need to. We'll just settle into our balasana, child's pose, pose of wisdom. And again, if you haven't already, you need to turn your head the other way. I want to mention you're always welcome to stay in the poses longer. So if you're just really feeling relaxed and comfortable, go ahead and just stay there. That's the beautiful thing about restorative poses is that they can kind of be done on their own. So if this is feeling really good, you're always welcome to linger. Let's take a big inhale through the nose And then exhale it out. We're going to lift up and move into our Barbed twist. So if you are using a bolster or pillow or something in front of you, you can keep that. But we're going to shift the body. We're going to turn to the right side. So bring in the right thigh forward. And you can stack your knees or take your top leg behind. And then lift your chest. And as you exhale, twist over the bolster. So this is an open twist, so it's totally fine for pregnancy. And you can have your head looking towards the knees, or you can turn it the other way. And this is a favorite twist for a lot of people. These first few poses are just really kind of calming us down, clearing out this day, this week, this winter. Twists are very naturally clarifying and gently detoxifying. So just once you kind of settle in, just take a few good breaths. Let your eyes close. If you have a washcloth or anything, you can always kind of hang it over the side of your face. I got a lot more light here than I like for restorative, but I want to keep the video clear. And then again, just focus on the breath, back to gratitude. And even if you don't have specific things that you feel grateful for today, maybe there's a color, a texture of gratitude. You can just inhale whatever color gratitude might be. Just filling the body, raising the vibration as we relax into our twist. Take another inhale, fill the belly, and let it go. And take your time, so there's no rush. Excuse me, between the poses. We're just going to shift to the other side. Move forward just so I'm not completely turned away from you. So just bring the other thigh forward. You can stack the knees or bring that top foot on the thigh. Lift up and fold down. Head can turn either direction. Again, it's a little bit softer if it points towards the knees. Relax the arms. And feel free to take deep breaths if it feels like there's just a lot of excess or stagnant energy in the body. Some sighs out the mouth are really good. And then just again, some deep belly breaths until we can just soften into a grateful release. And one more breath. And let it out. Bring it up. So we'll take our Supta Baddha Konasana, or reclining bound angle. So again, depending on your prop setup, I was going to keep this pretty simple for today, having the bolster flat and then taking a blanket or a towel, folding it in half, and then you can sit in front of the bolster and then grab your blocks or your books, or at my house, which I'll probably be doing some stuff from my house here pretty soon. You can take those under the thighs. I like to use the throw pillows. And so this is really nice. It's a little bit more open than sort of the one we usually do in restorative. So if you're like, yeah, this feels like it's too deep for back bend, you can always take another cushion or another block and just lift up the bolster. Or you can put the blocks under the bolster like we usually do, with the one set this way and this way, so the tower position and then the middle position. And as you can see, that's almost sort of the same height. So for today, I'm going to keep the blocks. And you can also, if it's not comfortable to have the soles of the feet together, so this is Baddha Konasana, the soles of the feet together position. You can also just stretch the legs out, and you can put the blocks or pillows or whatnot underneath the knees, or you can shift it so that they're under the feet, elevating the feet. So your pose, so definitely make this your pose, make this your practice. This is definitely a place where I would recommend putting the eye cover on, because we are here a little bit longer. I'm going to fix my pants here. A little bit longer, and so if you want to put on an eye cover, you can. Start to slow down, roll the shoulders down, and just take a few really good breaths, really good slow breaths. Soften the shoulders, soften the face. This is a heart opener, this is a hip opener, and really good if you've been spending more time sitting. Which is funny, right? We're at home now. A lot of people have been outside. I've seen a lot of people on the bike path and out and about. This feels really good to let everything open up. So deep breath and that infusion of spring gratitude moving through you. And with spring, and still does come allergies and other spring things as well. My allergies been going on this week. So again, getting those deep breaths, some extra support for the respiratory system. And just starting to let go. And take a deep breath in and sigh out. This is definitely a favorite pose, and you are welcome and encouraged to stay here even longer. If your hips or your upper back are starting to be ready to shift, you can slowly bend the knees or extend the legs. Take your time to roll yourself up. And our next pose will be either legs at the wall, the Britakarani, or Ardha Britakarani, which is like legs on the chair or legs on the couch. And I meant to bring in a chair in here tonight, but I do have plenty of wall space. So for the Britakarani, you don't really need anything except for the wall or the chair. It can be nice to have a blanket to have under the head if you want to take it a little bit deeper, and you can do this in the chair version too. You can have a bolster or a block underneath your hips. But essentially, we will shift the body towards the chair or the wall and start to roll the legs up. And it's okay if your legs are not flush against the wall. And actually, if you do have tight hamstrings or a tight low back, it can actually be even nicer to have that 90-degree angle of the chair. I do have my Gryffindor Harry Potter socks on tonight. Need a little Harry Potter in the world right now, always. And so you can have the legs at 90 degrees on the chair, on the couch. You can have them extended. If your legs are up the wall and they start to get tingly or fall asleep, which is normal, you can bring the soles of the feet together and then stretch them back up. If you want, you can always put, I don't know how many people have sandbags at home, but if you had a sandbag or even like a folded another blanket, you can put that over the feet for warmth and then also for weight. You can always put a blanket over the torso and just make sure the head and neck are comfortable so you can allow that. And again, if you do this and it doesn't feel good with the wall, then try taking the legs up on a chair or on a couch. Optional to lift the hips. And again, the same thing. In restorative yoga, we set up in the pose, we do a little wiggling, shifting, we make sure we're comfortable. And then we try to let go, we try to relax, we try to release. And this is one of my most favorite of all yoga poses. I love legs up the wall, chair, tree, boulder. I've taken my legs up all sorts of things. Such an efficient way to help reverse the blood flow, slow the breathing down, connect to the parasympathetic nervous system. And we're moving into a new season, so the body is regulating, recalibrating for more light, longer days. And I know that prospect of a longer day might feel interesting right now since we're spending a lot more of our days alone or indoors, but there's new opportunities, even if it's just doing a lot more online yoga or your own practice. So again, can we find that infusion of gratitude and let that settle us into our inversion? And slow down the breath, soften the shoulders towards the mat. Again, comfortable position for the back and for the legs. My time here. It's always been my fear teaching restorative yoga to do the poses with you guys that I'll like fall asleep and forget. But so far, I definitely keep remembering that I'm teaching. And it's kind of a new experience, but I'm just grateful if you're here with me, if you're here with me practicing. And if nothing else, I'm getting a little bit of restorative yoga tonight too. So getting myself to the practice. I'm grateful. So again, you can hang out here a little longer or take a big breath. Exhale it out. You can bring the soles of the feet together, or if your legs are on the chair, it might just be easier to pull them into the chest. We are going to start to head into our final relaxation, into our Shavasana. So I do always recommend traditional Shavasana. And I'll tell you why, because all the other restorative poses, while they are Shavasana-like, there is really only one Shavasana. And Shavasana is intended to be a place where the spine is in a neutral position and the body is, again, completely neutral. We're not opening the heart, we're not folding the spine, we're not twisting, we're not going upside down. But that being said, sometimes traditional Shavasana is not comfortable. So I want you to be really comfortable because I do want you to have like a full 10 minutes here. So you can traditionally lie on the back, have a blanket under the head. You can put your bolster or pillows under the knees. And then I do recommend covering the eyes and covering the body. You can always lie on your side. So you can always lay on a side and excuse me, have a bolster between the knees or a pillow between the knees. So that's fine too. And again, if any of the other poses are going to just be more accessible for you, or maybe you're already, you're still in your Supta Baddha Konasana, I can't see into your practice space, but just be somewhere comfy and cozy where you can start to really receive our final relaxation. You can start to slow down. This first day of spring in 2020, a spring equinox like none other in the last century. And here we are getting to practice restorative yoga together on Facebook. So again, if you can come back to that infusion of gratitude, get yourself comfy. Let's take a big breath in through the nose and open mouth, let it go. And then just let yourself be held by the earth. So the drum is considered to be one of the first instruments. We start kind of pounding on things, creating that percussion. And it's said that the drum beat, is the heartbeat of the earth. And so one of my very first yoga teachers used to play a Native American drum in Shavasana, and I just loved it so much. And so I've done a lot of training over the years in shamanic drumming, and I don't do it as much anymore, but it is very calming, and it feels like it connects me to the heart of the planet as well as the heart of the collective. And I know we're feeling isolated right now, feeling a little bit more alone. And so my hope is by drumming for you tonight, this sort of spring equinox restorative practice, restoring our spirits from the winter, restoring our hearts as we move into the spring, and connecting to that deep connection, with us, to the earth, to nature. And even if you can't be around as many people, you can still go out and connect with nature, and we can connect in these ways. And our hearts do beat as one. From my heart to yours. And start to deepen your breath. You are welcome to stay in Shavasana or anything else that, excuse me, feels good tonight. If you'd like to finish the practice together, and start to wiggle and stretch and shift, or just roll to one side. But if you are sitting tall, just place your hands over your heart, so palm over palm, the center of the chest, just feeling your heartbeat and knowing that that same heartbeat within you is in every being and in the earth. And it's spring. Thank you for sharing this first day of spring with me. Lots of love. And again, if you can watch these recordings whenever you want to get some restorative in. We'll keep lots of content coming for you. You'll be able to stream classes on Zoom from the site, from Mind Body, from the Yoga One app starting next week. So we're going to stay connected. We're going to keep our hearts beating together. Many blessings. Take a big breath in and out. And then inhale, hands to heart, bowing in. If you'd like to share a final Om, take a big inhale. Again, from my heart, yours. We're all living one heartbeat at a time. Blessed spring. Namaste. Blessed be. Have a beautiful night. Have a beautiful weekend. I hope to see you soon.